Hello. It is a Sunday, April 7th, 2024, and I read 13 books this past week, so let's talk about them. And this is a lot. This is a lot of books. It is also 30 and 30. It's April. That means I'm reading a manga a day, which helps. Anyway, the first book that I finished is Blood Mist by Robert James. This is a vampire novel. It's about vampires. It is about these people in this California town, and these people are starting to show up just absolutely mauled and destroyed. And then sometimes the bodies, when they're not completely destroyed, they disappear. It's like, what the hell's going on here? And, I mean, you can kind of realize from the beginning that it's a vampire situation. It was fine. I have been reading a whole lot of these like mass market 80s, 90s horror paperbacks, and this one was on the better side, but it's not something I think I'm going to need to keep around. I liked the characters. It was kind of goofy. I thought that was fun. Overall, I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. After that, I read a graphic novel. This is unrelated to 30 and 30, and that is Bloom by Kevin Panetta and Savannah Ganusho. This was really popular, like first when it came out in like 2019 or something, and it is a little gay graphic novel about this boy, and his parents own a bakery, and they need him to keep running the bakery after them, but he wants to be in a band. He wants to move. I think they want to move to Portland, I want to say. Do you want to move to Portland? It's not going to tell me. Or San Francisco, I don't know. I know he's somewhere on the West Coast, and he wants to move to a city. It might be like San Francisco or something. I don't remember. And it's not going to tell me in the front flap. But his parents need somebody to work at the bakery. That's making that difficult. And then this kid who's, I believe his parents just died, or his grandma just died. This kid whose grandma just died, and he kind of inherited her house, and so he's in the area. And he ends up working at this bakery, and it's adorable, and they fall in love, and it's all that sort of stuff. It was, again, this was good. About the art style. Art style's cute. It's all in these blues and blacks and everything, which is pretty nice theme that they have going on there. The characters I thought was interesting with the characters. I thought that some of the side characters didn't get developed very much, and a lot of the side character plots kind of were left hanging. And really, this all happened very fast. Like it was very, very slow up until about here, and then everything happened at once. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was cute. It was fun. It was a good read. This is for those of us who, I shouldn't say us, because I only read the first volume. This is for those of you who really like Heartstopper, is basically. All right, then I read another one of those mass market horror paperbacks, and this one I loved. It was real weird, and it didn't make a lot of sense, but I thought it was really fun, and that's A Lower Deep by Tom Piccirilli. This is about this guy. He's the necromancer, and we never know his name. And we start out the book, and he is trying to figure out, like, why he's trying to like save this person. We don't really know why. We don't really know who told him to. But basically what he's been doing for the past couple of years is avoiding his former like witch coven cult situation. Because at the end of this witch coven cult situation, the love of his life was murdered and died. But then the witch coven cult is back, and we're trying to bring about the end of the world, and there's a whole bunch of stuff happening. Like I said, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Even while you're reading it, like I was 100 pages in, and I like double checked to make sure that this was not the second book in a series or something like that, because Piccirilli just throws you in, and you just have to kind of pick it up. And if you don't, then you're not going to know what's going on. But I really liked how dramatic it was, because we have a lot of very dramatic, beautiful descriptions of these people getting like brutally murdered, and that is just my shit. Like I love that a lot. I thought it was fun. I really liked it. I'm excited to read more from Piccirilli, especially if it's anything like this, because like I said, like this didn't make much sense, but it was pretty, and I liked it, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. All right, now we start getting into our 30 out of 30. I did read the first 2 volumes, let's talk about them together, of Mob Psycho 100. I watched the first couple episodes of the anime, and I enjoyed it, but that was before I canceled all my streaming services except Amazon Prime, and it was on Crunchyroll, so I'm probably not ever gonna finish it. But so I was vaguely interested in reading this manga. This manga is about this world where there's spirits and stuff like that, and we follow this kid who has massive amounts of spiritual power. And he is like an apprentice to this con man, basically, who doesn't have any. And it's fine. It's by the same guy who did One Punch Man. It's funny enough. I don't like the art style. It's just, this is what it looks like. And to me, it seems kind of lazy. I know it's the style, but I just don't really like it. I enjoy the humor in these. I enjoy the characters, but I'm not going to be continuing on with the series. I gave this one 4 out of 5, and I gave this one also a 4 out of 5. So they're fine, but it's not really my thing. All right, then I finished a book with my 5th graders. This is with my low group. We finished up The Field Guide. This is a childhood book, and I really did not realize just how little story was in the first book until I reread this as an adult. Because when I was a kid, we had all 5. So you finish the first one, then you just go on to the second one. But we didn't have all 5 when I read this with my 5th graders. I'm like, God, really nothing happens in this, huh? I think I gave it 3 out of 5, maybe 4. I don't remember. I don't write these in the beginning here. All right, then I reread a manga. It was from the book wall, so it was, still did count for 30 and 30. That is the first volume of Deadman, Wonderland, and I love the series. This is a series that I'm currently collecting. This is about this futuristic world where Tokyo has been destroyed, but what has been built there is this for-profit prison. And this kid right here, he's our main character, and he is accused of murdering his entire class, and he gets sent to this prison, and there's like superpower stuff going on. I love this series so much. I think it's so fun. It's really dark. It is really dark. But the art is nice. And I am excited to keep on going with it. I do have another volume farther down in this wrap up. But it was fun to reread the first volume because it kind of got me back in the world. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was a fun time. Then I read probably my favorite book of the week. And that is a horror novel. That is Briardark by S.A. Harian. I believe this is indie pub, small press. But it is about this place in the wilderness. And one thing I've discovered about myself is that one thing I do really like is wilderness horror. Stuff like Annihilation, stuff like the Luminous Deep, stuff where you are going out into a place where we don't have the safety nets, and also this place wants to kill you. So the Luminous Deep, Briardark. So we follow kind of 3 separate stories. So we don't really follow the first story. It's our little prologue. But it all kicks off when these five women disappear while hiking. And then we follow 2 separate stories. One of them is a group of scientists that are going into this area where these women disappeared. And the other one is an IT guy who got a bunch of recordings from the scientists about this trip. And what's so fun with this book is it really messes with time and space in a really fun way. And I really, really love that. Like I cannot express just how fun this was and how much I really love the atmosphere, because we have this place, this national park, which is already like national parks. I mean, people disappear and die in them all the time, and it was so good. It was so fun. I liked the characters. They were decent. I really liked Cam. I think Cam was my favorite. She was wonderful. I gave it 5 out of 5. Not 4. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of my favorites of the year. All right, then we got my other volume of Deadman, Wonderland. This is the volume that I'm actually on in my read the series. That is volume 4. And this one, honestly, I was a little bit disappointed when I first started reading it, because I reread the first volume and I was like, oh, I love this series so much. And I started reading this one, I was like, I'm kind of bored. But then they melted a guy, and I was like, oh, that's right. That's why I love this so much. It was a little bit slow to start with for me. But once I got into it. 5 out of 5 stars. All right. Then I read The Beans of Egypt, Maine by Carolyn Chute, which is about this very impoverished family in Maine. And they're kind of terrible. It also follows their next door neighbors. And it just follows their lives of being awful people a lot of the time. And I don't think, and there were a couple moments of kindness in here, so I don't think that the author was trying to say that poor people are terrible. But a lot of these people were terrible. I think she was like, there's a reality that when you do have a lower socioeconomic class, that we do see a lot more domestic violence and stuff like that. Because it's hard, it's frustrating, there's a lot going on. Yeah. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. It's not the worst thing I've ever read. I do own the second book. That's why I bought this book, is because I own the second book. It is somewhere in the book wall. And that's why I bought the first book, because I got the second book for free. But I'm not super excited to read the second book, especially considering it's like 3 times the size of this one, but I did read this. All right, then we got 2 more 30 and 30 mangas. First up, I've got My Love Mix-Up Volume 3. This is a series that I'm currently working on. It follows this. So, this guy has a crush on, at the beginning of the series, this guy has a crush on her. And she lends him an eraser that has this guy's name on it, or what he thinks is this guy's name on it. And so he is very sad because he thinks that she has a crush on him. It actually has this guy's name on it, but because they have very similar names, and she erased out the first part. But then this guy sees him with the eraser with what he thinks is his name on it, and then he thinks that he has a crush on him, and it's a mess. It's funny. I thought it was cute. I really liked how the relationships developed in this volume. I'm going to keep on going with the series. I give this one a 4 out of 5. Cute art. It was a fun time. All right, and then I read the first volume in a series that I read the 3rd volume of, because I got a random 3rd volume, and I decided I wanted to go back and read the rest of the series, and that is the first volume of My Dress Up Darling by Shinichi Fukuda, and when I showed the art in this one, I'm going to have to really work kind of hard to find. Okay, this isn't bad. So this is the art here. I like it. It's cute. But this follows this high schooler, and he really is obsessed with making Hina dolls, and he feels kind of awkward and weird because of this, because when he was little, he had a friend who found out about it and made fun of him for it. He's like, dolls are for girls, and he kind of internalized that. But then he ends up, there's this girl, and she's very, like, charismatic and bombastic and very just kind of in your face, and she finds out that he can sew, and she's like, you're gonna make me some cosplay. And it's very awkward. I mean, there's, sexual situations in here, and it's very awkward, and he is very awkward, and I do love how awkward he is. I think that is probably my favorite part of it, and I'm excited to continue on. I'm reading the 2nd volume today, actually, so it'll be a fun time. I gave it a 5 out of 5. And then the last book I read this past week was Pirate Latitudes by Michael Crichton. Michael Crichton is often very hit or miss for me. I liked Sphere a lot. I liked portions of Timeline. I don't remember Prey. I read Prey when I was in high school, and I don't think I understood it. This is a historical fiction, and apparently I was reading some reviews, and apparently it was a book that was like found on his hard drive after he died, and they don't, like, it wasn't really finished. And after hearing that, I kind of understand why, like, the plot was just did not connect. Like, I did not connect with the plot. I liked the characters. Lazoo, love Lazoo. And I liked the characters, and I thought there were some really interesting ideas in here, but it just didn't seem to connect. And after hearing that this was just like found on his hard drive after he died, I'm like, okay, that makes sense now. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend it. It may be for a Michael Crichton completionist. I do still want to read, obviously, Jurassic Park. I haven't read Jurassic Park, and I'm kind of excited to, but I haven't. But yeah, no, it was 3 out of 5. It was fine. Like I said, I like the characters, but everything else was just kind of, I don't know. Next week, my plans for next week. I'm currently 50 pages in to Walden on Wheels by Ken Ilgunas. This is a book that my dad bought for me when I was about to graduate with $30,000 of debt with a English degree. So thanks, Dad. Yes, that was 4 years ago. 5 years ago. Oh my God. Ooh. Anyway, I'm going to be reading The Nameless by Ramsey Campbell. This has been on a couple TBRs, but, it's not as bad as one a little bit farther down. I want to read Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. This would be a reread. Always Never Yours by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sequin Broca. Unborn by David Shobin. You Asked for Perfect by Laura Silverman. Lonely on the Mountain by Louis L'Amour. This will be my first ever Louis L'Amour. So that's a lot for me personally, just in my soul. The Space... Oh, Jesus. Okay. Okay. The Space Between Us by Brenda Jovanoff. Ghosts of the Shadow Market. And then 3 more horror paperbacks. Deceased by Tom Piccirilli. Noon Swell by Jan Williamson, which has been on these lists for 3 weeks now, and I have not yet read it. And Furnace by Muriel Gray, as well as 7 more volumes of manga for 30 and 30. So yeah, that's that. That's my wrap up. I will talk to you later, and goodbye.